Hi, I'm Jeff. My wife Judy and I have been homeowners for over 35 years, and during that time, we've picked up a couple tips on how to take care of our yard and how to enjoy our yard. Today I'm going to do a review of the Worx 12 amp 3-in-1 Trivac WG-512. I'll go over some pros and cons and see if it might work for you. It's my second season of using it and basically a game changer. So I'm going to show a couple examples of how I found that I can use this in the yard, and you'll see whether it might be appropriate for you. I also got the Worx universal bag attachment, which is handy because you don't have to empty the bag. So watch along. That comes with it. There's actually two speeds, low and high, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, let me show you what happens with inside the bag. Very nicely mulched, so no problem putting this in your garden as it's way broken down more than just raking the leaves. So I wouldn't do it to maybe rake your whole yard, but to have an area where you have a special bed. As you see, the vacuum is pretty good. The problem is it gets bulky with the bag as it gets heavy. So that's the one negative, but that universal bag is a nice feature. So the last feature I'm going to show is how to convert from the bag, which comes with it, to the attachment. You empty the bag, unzip it, and by doing so, you can expose the actual coupler that you need for the attachment. There's two little posts that stick out, and in the attachment you'll see there's two grooves. Simply line them up and twist, and now you have your attachment connected to the blower or to the vacuum, which you can then go about. Ironically, when I was doing this, I thought perhaps there was a piece missing. I couldn't attach the bag to the attachment, and I was taking the entire bag off, to the point that I actually called customer service thinking I was missing a piece. And while I was on hold with them, I figured it out. So I got to find out their customer service was very helpful. So this morning, I used the vacuum for about an hour. And during that time, I filled 3 garden containers, and they were about 30 gallons each, with the mulched leaves. And if I had a regular bag or just without the mulch feature, I would say I probably would have filled 6. So figure at least 50% less space because it mulches it. And that's an added benefit. In our particular case, we have an oak tree that'll continue to lose its leaves well into the spring. So I'm not looking to get a clean yard, but it's your typical 10 minutes after you go through an area, you can almost tell where you haven't been. But because of that, I'm able to get a fairly concentrated area of leaves. So during that hour, there were 3 times that it clogged. I didn't show how to unclog it, but it's pretty straightforward. You simply unplug it, take off the bag or attachment, and convert the vacuum to the blower. And by seeing that area, there's an opening where you can remove any debris. In the case for me, basically turning it upside down was able to release any of the twigs. There was no clogging or jamming. It was just simply a twig had got in there. so it took maybe 2 minutes each time. But during that hour, I certainly filled the containers to a point where I didn't have to bend over, and that has become now a new pro. I didn't realize the convenience of carrying the bag, or if you have the container right there, you don't have to bend over to reach down for the leaves. So here's some of the pros and cons. When you're using it as a vacuum, it does a good job of reaching into the beds. So if you have leaves amongst, say, some shrubs, it does a good job of pulling out the leaves. It doesn't pick up the acorns, as also it doesn't pick up the mulch, which is a nice feature. As a blower, it does a good job of taking the leaves and maybe moving them to one area where you can then vacuum them. So when the lawn is dry, the leaves are dry, the blower does a nice job. It's pretty powerful. And then the other feature that I like is that when you are mulching, you get a lot of nice mulch which can then go in your garden. So instead of a landfill, one of the pros is that it really becomes usable leaf mulch. On the con side, it is one more piece of equipment to add to your gallery of lawn equipment that you have. So if space is an issue, that may be something to consider. One of the other features is the cost. I got this on Amazon. It was around $78. The attachment, I believe, is around $48. I have no monetary investment in this. Worx doesn't even know that I'm doing this video, so there's no disclaimers as far as any bias toward this. I just simply wanted to show how convenient it was. So with that in mind, there's some pros and cons, and it is something to consider. You do have to have an extension cord. So in our particular case, if you have a large yard, I have a 100-foot cord. I'm able to extend it as long as I needed it. So that is possibly a con. So with that in mind, if it's something that you want to consider the Worx-trivac vacuum and leaf blower. Thanks for watching.